Hello, everyone. Y'all better strap in because what I'm about to unleash isn't fluff. It's a warning shot for the entire league. The Kansas City Chiefs may have just reloaded their arsenal in a way that could blow the doors off the NFL. We're talking a front office masterstroke, strategic brilliance that'll leave rivals breathless and scrambling. Stay locked in till the end. Smash that like, drop a W if you're still riding with the Chiefs, or an L if you've lost the faith, and don't forget to subscribe, because what's brewing in Kansas City? It's not what you saw last season. This is a whole new monster. Let's skip the sugarcoating. This NFL offseason was never going to be quiet for the Chiefs. After everything they've endured, the doubters, the critics, the analysts waiting year after year for the fall off, Kansas City did what champions do. They doubled down on dominance. They didn't rest on their rings or sip champagne in comfort. No, they looked in the mirror and said, "We're not done yet." So what do you do when you're already elite and still hungry? You build smarter. You draft with surgical precision. You seize value while others sleep. That's exactly what went down this year. And if folks don't wake up soon, they're going to get steamrolled by the red and gold machine. The draft, that was just the appetizer. The Chiefs knew the trenches needed reinforcement, especially on the O-line. That's why they snagged Josh Simmons in the first round, a move that screams, "We mean business." Simmons isn't just another body in the rotation. He's a rising juggernaut. Critics may have balked at the timing, called it a reach, but let me ask you this. When's the last time a Super Bowl dynasty waited for approval before making a power move? Exactly. Simmons brings raw power, freakish athleticism, and most importantly, that nasty streak you can't coach. He's the type of guy defenses hate by week 6. But the Chiefs didn't stop there, and this is where it gets downright dangerous. They found steals deeper in the draft, names like Brashard Smith and Omar Norman Lott. Not flashy, not household names yet, but these are the under-the-radar assassins that championship teams thrive on. Smith? Explosive, agile, a chip on his shoulder the size of Arrowhead Stadium. Norman Lott? A tank, collapsing backfields like a seasoned vet. If you think the Chiefs defense is just Chris Jones and filler, think again. They're building a defense that's deep, mean, and impossible to predict. But wait, that was just the draft. In free agency, Kansas City started flexing muscle. You want to know how serious a team is? Watch how they treat the trenches. Bringing in Jaylon Moore shows they're protecting their MVP like Fort Knox. No, he's not a social media star, but what he brings is consistency, depth, and hard-earned experience, the kind of pieces you win with in January. Now, shift to the defense. The Chiefs didn't just plug holes, they fortified them. Christian Fulton is one of the most underrated DBs in the game. Aggressive, physical. Put him in Spagnuolo's system, you've got a problem on your hands. And Jerry Tillery... He's got fire in his veins. Put him beside Chris Jones, and it's like striking a match beside TNT. You're about to see him unleashed. And here's where it gets really wild. We're not just talking about what they've already done. We're talking about what's still in play, because free agency isn't over, and some big names are still floating out there. You bring in just one more game changer, the rest of the AFC might want to start praying. Let's talk Von Miller. Now, look, he's not the same Von who terrorized Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. He's older, he's been banged up, but don't let that fool you. Von Miller, used situationally, on key downs, with the game on the line, terrifying. You don't need him to play every snap. You just need him on 3rd and 7 with the season on the line, hunting quarterbacks like it's 2015 again. He's got championship DNA. Now imagine him back in the AFC West, only this time on the other side, wearing red, chasing the ghosts of his Denver days while helping Kansas City write its next chapter and flipping the script to join the Chiefs. The headlines practically write themselves. But the real story? If Von Miller captures another ring in Kansas City, he becomes just the second player in NFL history to win a Super Bowl with 3 different franchises. That's not just legacy, that's immortality. And that kind of hunger, that's what fuels warriors to turn back the clock and unleash one more legendary run. Think Von's ready to coast into retirement? Think again. He wants history, and what better battleground than beside Chris Jones in front of a thunderous Arrowhead crowd with the whole country watching? It's poetic, it's ruthless, it's a nightmare for everyone not wearing red. But it's not just Von. Let's shift to the wide receiver core. On paper, the Chiefs may look set, but when you're chasing dynasty-level dominance, good enough doesn't cut it. You prepare for chaos. You plan for every possible outcome. Enter Amari Cooper. He may not be the burner he once was, but make no mistake, he's still a surgical route technician with hands like glue and veteran intelligence. Stash him behind your starters, and suddenly you've got a clutch option. A postseason assassin ready to step in when injuries hit, or when the lights shine brightest. Championships aren't won with stars alone. They're secured with depth, foresight, and elite insurance. And Cooper, he's the kind of insurance policy most franchises can't afford, but the Chiefs can make it happen, especially on a team-friendly, incentive-loaded one-year deal. Now back to the defense. Losing Justin Reed left a void. So who better to fill that role than Justin Simmons? Yes, he's a former Bronco. Yes, he's had better seasons, but he's still a game-changing predator in the secondary, a ball hawk with elite instincts and the mental command to orchestrate an entire defense. Drop Simmons into this already ruthless unit, and what you get isn't just coverage. You get command. He brings swagger, authority, sideline to sideline speed. I'm going to get to that. The kind of leadership that shifts the entire defensive tone. Pair him with Kansas City's ascending talent, and you've got a secondary that quarterbacks won't even want to test. This offseason isn't about patchwork fixes. It's about constructing a war machine. A roster with so much depth, so much balance that no injury, no adversity, no playoff gauntlet can break its stride. This isn't just about improving, it's about making sure no one else catches up. So if you're still sitting there thinking the Chiefs are just riding Mahomes' magic or Andy Reid's brilliance, let me stop you right there. This isn't a Cinderella run. It's not a flash in the pan. This is cold-blooded, strategic, legacy-building football. What you're witnessing isn't a team, it's the foundation of an empire. An empire constructed brick by brick, not for one trophy, but for sustained generational dominance. Now let's talk about what makes this possible. Culture. This locker room isn't about social media flash or highlight reels. It's about grit, brotherhood, accountability. Every move, every draft pick, every signing is aligned not just with talent, but with identity. You don't just plug players into the system. You initiate them. You elevate them. They don't just join the roster. They become part of the machine. That's why Von Miller makes perfect sense. It's not just about what he's got left. It's about what he brings to the soul of the team. A voice that's been to the mountaintop. A presence that shifts the room. You insert Von into that defense, and it doesn't just level up. It galvanizes. Young beasts like George Karlaftis would absorb knowledge like sponges. Linebackers? More aggressive, knowing the edge is sealed. Corners? Press tighter, knowing the quarterback won't have time. That's what one savvy veteran does. He triggers a chain reaction. It's ripple effect football. Put Von in the right situation. Fresh legs, clutch snaps, championship stakes, and watch a legend etch his final chapter in bold. A man with something to prove. Wearing Chiefs red every Sunday, rewriting the story, one sack, one roar, one legacy moment at a time. Week 6, Mile High, Von's return to Denver. And then like Buffalo, cold, revenge, prime time. The storylines write themselves. The drama's already simmering. All it takes is one signature play to ignite the fire, and the league better be ready when it does. But let me shift gears for a second, because this right here matters. Whenever people talk about the Chiefs' offense, the conversation starts, and rightly so, with Mahomes and Kelsey. But what separates Kansas City isn't just star power, it's their strategic obsession with options, not just heroes. Not just highlight machines. weapons, layered across the board like chess pieces you can't track. That's why a guy like Amari Cooper isn't a luxury. He's a silent threat, a calculated insurance policy, a route-ruining hitman. You're doubling Rice, shadowing Kelsey, boom. Amari slips behind the zone for 80 yards and 6 because his route looked like it was drawn by an algorithm. This isn't about replacing anyone. It's about outnumbering the opposition's game plan. It's about putting too many problems on the field for any defense to solve. And let's not forget, this is the NFL, the land of attrition. People get hurt. Momentum shifts. Ugly games happen. That's when the quietest off-season edition becomes the January headline. Cooper isn't here to be WR1. He's the dagger. The one you forget about until it's buried in your defense in the fourth quarter. But it doesn't stop there. Defense wins titles. And where do championships vanish in a blink? The secondary. One blown coverage. One mistimed leap. One misread. Season over. That's why Justin Simmons belongs in this conversation. He's not just another safety. He's a field general, a cerebral predator with elite range, a quarterback's worst nightmare, and the mental database to read offenses like pop-up books. You pair Simmons with a rising young DB group or a hybrid nickel scheme, and suddenly the defense becomes chaotic by design. Two Hilux rotating post-snap, disguised coverages, baiting throws, blitzes that land because quarterbacks hesitate, corners that gamble because the back end is airtight. That's not just defense. That's defensive manipulation. And that's how you win rings. So let me say this louder for the people in the back. What Kansas City is doing this offseason isn't flashy. It's forensic. It's tactical. And that's why it's terrifying. While other teams are chasing headlines and plugging leaks with duct tape, Kansas City is building like architects, not gamblers. They're fortifying, layering talent on top of talent, constructing dominance with blueprint precision. And when you scan the AFC, Buffalo is wobbly. Miami is inconsistent. The Jets are chaos. Cincinnati is still searching for answers after their playoff crash. Meanwhile, Kansas City is building like they already see the confetti falling. That's the difference. They're not just trying to win. They're planning a ring. They don't want a ring. They want a reminder. They want teams stepping into Arrowhead thinking about survival, not victory. That's the mindset. That's the fire. That's how dynasties are born. So don't act shocked when Von Miller signs a veteran deal. Don't blink when Amari Cooper is suiting up in red and gold by preseason. Don't say it's hype when Justin Simmons is flying off the edge in week 1 and detonating a third down. It's not hype. It's not speculation. It's inevitability. Mahomes sees it. Andy Reid is drawing it. Brett Veach, he's 10 moves deep, making chess plays while the rest of the league is still spinning the wheel. And if you're a fan, enjoy it. Savor it. This isn't normal. This kind of clarity, this level of aggression, this depth of execution. You're not watching a team. You're watching greatness. Forged by design, not luck. So, if you're still doubting, go ahead, type that L in the comments. But if you're riding with the movement, if you believe this team isn't just running it back, but upgrading the arsenal while doing it, smash that like, drop a W below, and hit subscribe, because what's coming next? You won't want to miss 1 second of it. They say the dynasty's starting to crumble, that the crown's slipping, that the chiefs are cracking at the foundation, but hold up! Really think the kingdom's falling apart just because Mahomes got hit a few more times last year? Think again. There are moves being made in Kansas City, quiet, strategic, and lethal, that are about to silence the skeptics. Warning, what you're about to hear might flip your entire perspective upside down. So watch this to the very end. Smash that like, type W if you still believe, or L if you've thrown in the towel, and don't forget to subscribe, because this ride is far from over. Now listen up. I don't care which team you rep. If you love football, you better pay attention to what's unfolding in Kansas City. This isn't some emotional overreaction to a Super Bowl loss. This is a methodical reconstruction of a juggernaut that refuses to be buried by a single stumble, a single game, a single bad night. The NFL draft? For Kansas City, it wasn't a show. It was a rebuild. a recalibration, a reawakening, a calculated admission that even the kings of the AFC need to reinforce the fortress when the walls take damage. They used their top picks where real football is played and won, in the trenches. Forget the flashy skill positions, forget the highlight reels. This was about blood, grit, and longevity. Mahomes, the golden arm, the engine of the dynasty, got sacked more than ever last season. That's not just a stat, that's a red alert. One Andy Reid and Brett Veach heard loud and clear. So in the first round, they didn't chase headlines, they went to war for protection. See you next video.